evening, all you silver stackers out there. We have absolutely just broken through the floodgates of precious metals. At this point, I think it's safe to say that good game bankers and institutions that were trying to sort of hold the markets down and suppress things, it is all over, and it's only going to keep getting worse for them because there's nothing seemingly going to stop this other than some sort of outside governmental influence or a complete fundamental just destruction of the just complete destruction of the COMEX and how they are processing these contracts for precious metal spot prices. If your charts don't lag, you aren't using Kitco. Possibly. The market is open. What's going on? Don't be fooled. And TFT, Antif Egypt, thanks for hopping in here early. So a few things going on right now with news around the world about gold and silver. But let's be frank, the number one most important thing right now is we're up almost 1% today already on gold. We're up almost 2% on silver already. Gold coming in at $5,000.26 right at the market open here, and silver popping off at $104.78. I think we're going to hit $110 this week. I mean, even if we have a day of a pullback at this point, can any of us believe that the pullback is going to be a sign of anything to come? Yeah, you like the background? Background's a little nice, huh? These are there's some silver. There's some silver on the screen for you guys today. Yeah, I don't know. There's just going to be and honestly, the pullbacks seem to happen so fast these days that you can't even really capitalize on them. Like, unless you just have the day off from work or something and you go down, because my coin shops close pretty much right after working hours. So unless you're like unemployed, retired, or you're taking day off work, when these pullbacks happen for 5 hours or something during one day and then they recover, it's really hard to quote unquote take advantage or buy the dip anymore. You kind of just have to be buying precious metals. And if you get lucky and you get it on a lower end than a higher end, congratulations, you got lucky. I don't really know what else to say. We can pop over here and check out the charts, but yeah, I just don't see anything that's holding this back. So we're up to 5,025, like I said, almost 105 here on silver. It's probably going to get there pretty quick here. It's just I don't know. I'm lost for words for what's going on in this market. And everybody's talking about, we're still doing price discovery. Absolutely. We are still doing price discovery there because there's just no resistance levels anymore. There's nothing. There's no like rational reason why anything should be happening the way that it is, other than, what we can all figure out, like, there's this going on in the world. There's this going on with Industrial Man. Sure. But like a lot of that stuff's been going on for the last 20 years and this didn't happen. Right. The deficit has been there for 5 years. And okay, it just seems to be that right now we're in this perfect combination, this perfect storm. Right. I'm going to laugh if the pullback is 150. It will be still on its way up. That could be maybe it runs up to 200 penny scout and the pullback goes to 150. And that's your opportunity to get in and buy. I don't know. Don't be fooled says, I haven't stopped buying, just ordered 100 gram Scottsdale poured bar. Awesome. Yeah, I haven't stopped buying either. I just haven't found a reason to stop buying. Now, I have adjusted what I was buying. I was buying the crap out of these, half silver, half dollars. And I still think that 90% constitutional junk is still probably one of the best ways to purchase silver right now. We're going through the great melt, right? We're going through another great melt of constitutional silver, and I think it's undesirable right now. I got a news flash for you guys. Eventually, at some point in the future, at some point, someday, somehow, the demand will go down a little bit or a lot. The refiners will start to get caught up, and all of a sudden, this stuff will be like the refiners will buy it, the local coin shops will buy it, and there will be less of it. So good quality versions of things could actually kind of demand a premium again. I do think that there's going now. I can't put a timeline on it. I don't know if it's going to be next year or 5 years from now or 10 years from now or 15 years from now. I don't know. But all I do know is that in today's market, this stuff is undesirable compared to 999 pure 10-ounce bars, right? Hey, what's up, Brilliance? What's up, Kevin? Thanks, guys, for popping in here. Appreciate you guys. My day just got better. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we talked about, so back, in 2020 to 2022 or whatever, when silver is hovering around $15 to $20, silver would be what was considered, silver as a whole was kind of undesired by people, right? There wasn't a lot of interest in it. People weren't really buying it out. It was just there, and it was available and affordable, and people could have bought all of it, right? People could have bought all the silver that they wanted during those times, but they didn't. Why? Because often our psyche tells us to sort of stay away from the thing that is not popular with, the universe or the culture or the herd or whatever. If it's not popular with the herd, then I probably shouldn't get into it. Well, that was silver, and look what we've done. I feel like that's where we're at with 90% right now. Whether it's Morgans, really nice quality Morgans, or nice, nice half dollars that I go for, Walking Liberties, Franklin's, whatever, I think that the barbers, whatever you're into, I do think, like, if you're buying this stuff for 10% under melt and, way back of the actual face value, I think you're good. Because you're hedging yourself against the pullback, right? You're hedging yourself of a pullback, because in the future, if it balances and it comes back closer to spot, there's no guarantees, but it's also happened multiple times throughout history where these demanded a premium over spot. So there could be a world where this comes in, and that world might be, in a weird way, it might be because there is such massive industrial demand that all the pure stuff kind of gets refined up or held into collectors and investors' hands. And so they start taking whatever the heck they can get, because the refineries finally start getting caught up, and they're like, you know what, guys? We need whatever silver y'all got. Please send it to us. Just send us whatever silver you got. We'll take it, right? That's not unreasonable, is what I'm getting at. It's not improbable for that to happen. What's up, Penny? I hate my work laptop. This thing is too fancy. It drops my house internet all the time. My hotspot works perfect. Oh, that's interesting. Penny, have you looked into maybe getting a direct Ethernet cable into your Wi-Fi router, or possibly even you could get a Wi-Fi booster / extender that you might be able to plug into your wall, and maybe help you get up and down stairs or through thicker walls. Anyway, just whatever. Silver is a black hole vacuuming is the whole stock market and all the crypto. I think that silver and gold are absolutely indicators of this isolationism kind of theory going on out there, with all the different countries and all the, all over the world, especially the ones that have the means to do this. I feel like this is the world becoming preppers, as in sovereign nations becoming preppers, going, okay, if the US is going to cut us off because of tariffs, and we are now responsible for our own economy because they're also cutting us off from like USAID, giving us funding for random crap, right? Like, the USA has made a lot of pretty dramatic world changes in the last, year and a half. And I think you would be a fool not to acknowledge that we have kind of created this separatism where it's kind of like every man for themselves. There are still obviously alliances and deals and trade deals and all that stuff that still exist. But a lot of it is we are trying to isolate ourselves and take care of ourselves and build the infrastructure and start to get back to manufacturing, and every nation is kind of doing the same thing. So what do we need if other nations are very reliant on US debt for their pension plans or their government's economy? Well, they're realizing what's going on, and they're going to say, hey, you know what we need to do? I know what we need to do. We need to kind of isolate ourselves too and make ourselves stronger by purchasing gold and silver and stockpiling it in our vaults, by focusing on our own nation's productivity, GDP, and increasing our exports to other parts of the world and our imports and stuff. Like they need to kind of like sure up their own issues, and they can't be reliant on the world's superpowers to do everything for us. And even the USA, we were heavily reliant on China for manufacturing. I mean, a lot of the industrial equipment that our country needed and was dependent on came from places like China. And so I am all for this like idea of the American made and America taking care of itself, but there are going to be ripple effects, and I think these are some of the ripple effects of this policy. Is that you're seeing gold and silver just being bought up in just unrecognizable amounts. If you're interested, we are still up above $104 on the early trading here today. We do have a pretty decent gap here that kind of filled by a weird pip, but we do have a little gap going on over here between 103.50 and 103.70. We'll see if that ends up kind of popping back down and then going back up or not. But yeah, it's pretty exciting times. Pretty exciting times. We have yet to see the silver market level out. Until it does and has a solid month hold, 90% will only then gain anything on premium. Yes, Penny, I'm not, again, I want to be very clear. I believe in this 90% stuff. I believe it's a great deal because you are able to get it so cheap today. But if you're buying this stuff and you're expecting to go into an LCS tomorrow and sell it, even if silver went up $15 an ounce and you're expecting to go get a profit, you're fooling yourself. You buy this stuff because you are a long-term deep stack holder of silver, and this is part of your long-term plan. I'm talking over 10-year plan. There will be times, I believe, in the future where 90% silver will come back closer to spot. That spread will shrink, because right now the spread on 90% is massive, right? And I think that's true. I do believe that. I wouldn't be buying it if I didn't believe in it. I also believe in fractional. Now, obviously, this stuff is fractional. But from here on out, whenever I say, like any video where I say that I'm buying fractional silver, I believe in fractional silver, I am talking about pure fractional silver. And I believe in that right now as well, because I do think that silver, I told you guys, I am on the bull. I am in the bull. I'm a bull now. All right. I'm not fighting silver getting on the train anymore. I'm bullish. I'm absolutely bullish. I mean, just look at what's happening on the chart right now. We had another little pullback, right? And then we instantly blew through it with 2 levels of volume, positive volume that's higher than the negative. So like there's still just such massive upward momentum, even at $104. Every time we have a negative, volume spike, it gets met with a positive volume spike. And I agree with what Penny's saying. Penny's in here dropping bombs already. It might be a while for things to level out. And when we talk about leveling out, what we want to see is like months of level at this point. We don't even get to see weeks anymore. Weeks, I don't even know. It's just crazy. We can't even get a day or two of level prices. It doesn't feel like anymore. So we're gonna have to just ride this wave. If you're in it, you're in it. You know what I mean? Like just be in it and stop complaining with the ups and downs every day. Just ride the wave, and eventually we're going to hit a top. It might be a soft top. We might bounce off of it and go over it later. But eventually, at some point here, we're going to hit a period of time where silver and gold will stabilize. And they won't move 7% a day. They will eventually sort of find an equilibrium of buy and sell demand, and things will level off, and we won't have crazy changes every day. And that's when we kind of know, hey, we might finally have realized a price point that is something that we can actually believe in. Because right now, this is all just crazy. I like silver. I do too. Silver's pretty fun. I like silver. I like gold. I like all the sparklies. Wait till I start buying certified gems, and then we can start talking about gems on the channel. I don't know, but I haven't got into that yet. I'm still kind of just waiting because honestly, I just kind of want to make sure that I just don't want cash anymore, to be honest with you guys. Cash does serve a purpose. It does serve a purpose, but as long as I can quickly convert other assets into cash, that's the definition of liquidity, right? Is how quickly it can be converted into a currency that can be exchanged for all goods and services, essentially. As long as gold and silver I can quickly exchange for what I need fiat for, which would be, again, I don't want to hold fiat. What I want to do with cash is I want to convert it into another asset, property, homes, goods and services that I need, whatever, vehicles, whatever you're trying to buy with it. And the only way to hedge for me right now is to keep buying gold and silver at whatever price it is. So is it quote unquote expensive to be buying silver at $105 an ounce? Absolutely. And I'm buying fractional because of that. Because if silver does go all the way up to $150 an ounce or $200 an ounce or $300 an ounce, well, guess what? I'm going to be happy that I have those half ouncers to lock in $100 and $150 worth of value from them, right? We just have to you have to prepare yourself for that scenario. The Don't be fooled. I have a very expensive Michael Jordan card collection. I'm thinking about cashing in for silver. What do y'all think? Don't be fooled. I can actually discuss. I can actually talk to that exactly. Don't be fooled. I had a pretty valuable card collectibles between sports cards and trading cards, and it's a decently valued collection. I have been slowly offloading it, as in to the tune of like $3,000 to $5,000 a year. I've been offloading it, but just the last week, I went ahead and sold almost $4,000 now of trading cards, and I'm cycling that money once it, once all the payments settles and all that's done. I cycle that money now into gold and silver, and I'm just going to hold on to it because I don't, while I do still believe some of those collectibles could go up in value, I don't think that they're going to go up at the same rate at which gold and silver are. And if some of them do drop in value, well, guess what? I could just, in essence, pull out some of that profit, from the gold and silver, and then cycle that back into the collectibles as they fall. So I think, don't be fooled right now. I'm kind of in the boat of sell everything that's not nailed down, that you don't care about. Get what money you can for it. Obviously, take care of your taxes and all that stuff that you need to take care of, and then shift it into precious metals, because we have not seen anything hardline stop precious metals for longer than a couple days. A staple stacker, what's up? Nice name change there. All right, somebody else said something. Peter Water, welcome. Thanks for being here. What will the Fed vote to do to the prices of silver and gold, in your opinion? I'm thinking it will be volatile for the next few days until the announcement, but keen on to hear other opinions. What are they voting on? What bill? I might not be familiar with what you're discussing here, Peter. What are they voting on? Like, can you name the bill or the act, and I can look into it? Maybe not for this stream, but maybe we can talk about it in the next stream. But I mean, all I'm seeing right now is the U.S. government has become partners with. Remember, U.S. government became partners with Korean Zinc to build a new refinery in Tennessee. Right here, Seeking Alpha article has U.S. government to invest $1.6 billion in USA Rare Earths for a 10% stake. Right. So if you want to read through it, but I don't see the U.S. government doing anything to like. I don't believe that they're going to do anything to like confiscate gold and silver from the populace, because quite frankly, most people don't have enough to warrant even the effort and time that it would take to, hey, we're going to buy all your gold at, $6,000 an ounce and all your silver at $120 an ounce, right? Would be how it worked out. And if you don't sell it to us, you're going to get, thrown in jail or fined, right? Is it even worth their time? Because back then when they did it, people carried gold and silver as their exchange because the US dollar was backed by gold and silver. In today's date, it's not. Most people don't even own it. So, like, what would be the point of targeting that little bit of gold? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I see it. But, I mean, anything's possible, especially when a government gets some kind of hair-schemed idea that they can make more money. Sports cards go up and down just like any other collectible. Exactly, Penny. So, if you feel good about selling it, sell it. If you don't, keep it. But yeah, if somebody can inform me of what bill is being voted on in the next day or two that concerns the price of gold and silver, I'm just unaware of a federal vote to do something to the prices of silver and gold. I wasn't aware. All right, gems are cool, diamonds are stupid. One-use industrial cutting tools. Oh, for diamonds, yeah. Yeah, gemstones are just, again, it's just another asset, another valuable. It's probably less practical than just buying gold, right? So that's what I was thinking. Silver's going up. I can buy back the Jordans later. Again, in a perfect world, don't be fooled. In a perfect world, for all we know, gold and silver could go crashing down in 2026 back to, 2022 levels. And your Jordan cards could go up tenfold because some weird collector comes out here and starts spending billions of dollars on Jordans, right? Anything could happen. You just do what's best for you. But I look at this and I go, you know what? Right now, I don't know of another asset I'd rather be in than precious metals or precious metals tied markets, like maybe mining stocks and stuff. I know the big YouTube channels get sponsored every other day, it feels like, with a new random, small micro miner that they're pushing on everybody, making like just ridiculous videos just to push a mining stock. I guess maybe I should do like a parody of that. Would be fun. But but at the end of the day, there is actually opportunity in those right now. if you're, if you can afford to lose your money if they go down. But so it's like it's safe to probably say go into it because people aren't losing their ass. But if people were losing their ass left and right, you would see a different tenor on all these shield sort of like advertisement stuff going on. The only bill likely passed is to screw over the taxpayers every single time. D-Man Biggie, yeah. If there was gonna, again, I'm not aware. I'm hoping somebody can tell me, or I just don't have time to search into it right now. But if somebody could tell me what bill is being laid out into Congress right now concerning prices of precious metals, I'd be happy to read it and offline and then respond. But I'm not aware of it. But yeah, you're right, D-Man Biggie. If they were going to ever pass a bill, it'd be a way to increase taxes or reduce rights, right? And that's kind of the purpose right now. I'm more along the lines of old America, God's America, go back to the gold standard. I don't think we ever go back to the gold standard. I really don't. In fact, if you guys didn't join us for the entire live stream where we talked about the Genius Act, I was talking about the Genius Act because the Genius Act wants to move to stable coins, right? That are backed by the US dollar, which the US dollar is backed by nothing. So I don't, if that's, and by the way, that bill has already been passed and signed into law. So if anything, we should be considering the future situation where stable coins take over our government and our monetary supply, and how that's going to impact us more than we should probably worry about any kind of like confiscation. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's something you should definitely look at. The only bill likely passed is, oh wait, I just scrolled down. Plastic is overprinted and deflationary. I mean, it is overprinted. It is. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so we're trying to look in. They're going into the stake, U.S. rare earths. So here's so they're buying a 10% stake into this company, USA Rare Earths, USAR stock. So U.S. government is investing $1.6 billion for a 10% stake. They also just invested in the Korea Zinc refinery facility, right? We know that they've declared these as critical, minerals. It is very clear that for the foreseeable future, rare earth materials and minerals are actually rare right now. And the U.S. government acknowledges that, and they're trying to shore up their stake in these things. There's a lot of talk even that Venezuela was highly motivated by this, and Greenland's highly motivated by this. It could be. I don't know. I'm sure that they're probably also a combination of military defense as well as the potential for, natural resources coming from the earth. I'm sure that's all part of this whole plan. But here we are. So this, again, leads me to believe that if there's governments, we talk about all the gold buying, thousands of tons of gold being purchased for nations and storing them in their central banks. All of this stuff is for me, it's telling me that we're not in a point yet where where prices are going to come down, because there's still such just massive demand on a global scale. And there's only so much available. There's only so much gold and only so much silver that exists for all these nations to do basically the exact same thing the USA is trying to do. Right? Am I the only one that feels that way? Need some fiat-backed fiat. Exactly, TFD. That's what we're at. We're going back to this is why silver is going up. This is the end of all corporate government. Watch it happen. We, the people, choose the path. We are buying silver. We have chosen our money. This is the body. Yeah, I don't know if we have that much power yet. I'd like to think we do, Brilliance. I'd like to think we do. But I think most people are so comfortable and complacent that they are just going to do kind of what they're told. One gold back will be worth over $10 tomorrow. Yep, that is true. Based on their own, because the gold back system, they create their own exchange rates and they create their own minimum pricing. So based on their own pricing, yep, they say it's worth over $10, but it's not worth over $10 of gold melt value. So I know people like really enjoy gold back stuff. I'm not a big fan. I would say if you want gold, just go buy gold. Like buy a 1/1000th, pure gold flake, little sheet, or buy a 1/200th piece of gold or whatever. Buy a 1/10 ounce gold coin, because anybody that would accept gold backs would probably also accept physical gold if you really, really like put the pressure to them or ask them about it. So I don't know. I like their model. I like the artwork on them. I'm just not a huge fan of that whole system that they have there. What do you think of the Japanese bond market crash that's been in the works and how it affects precious metals and people rushing to them? Yeah, I've been Alaska and Andrew have been kind of looking at that. It's not just them, like right here, right? It seems like all these countries are doing everything that they can to get out of their dependency on the United States and the United States, financial system, money system. The whole world sees what we see, right? The whole world sees that we have debased our currency, that we are leading into we're not leading into hyperinflation. Like we could talk about that another time. Like the Weimar Germany hyperinflation is always compared to, like, people always bring that up as a comparison to like what the US is doing with their currency. And by the way, just a quick aside here, if you guys haven't done so already, click the like button, share the channel with somebody you think would enjoy this kind of conversation and stuff. But we shouldn't be compared to Weimar Germany, because two big differences. The United States dollar is a massive world reserve currency, and that hasn't really gone down yet. In fact, the US dollar has been strengthening over the last few months. So that was not, was not a world reserve currency when its currency collapsed. So that's number one. And the second big thing is the US government, the United States of America. Germany lost the war, and that's also destroyed their economy. I don't foresee the US government and the United States of America losing any kind of big war like that anytime soon. In fact, I think that we are going around the world asserting our dominance once again through our military technology and in training and skill and quantity of military precise devices that we have created. And we're only continuing to expand at a rapid rate. I know other countries are trying to keep up or surpassing us in some areas, but I don't foresee us not being the world reserve currency and losing a war anytime soon. So I don't think we're going to ever go through that. Not ever, but like any time in a foreseeable future that we're going to go through that hyper crazy inflation. Will we have inflation? Yeah, we literally, the whole purpose of fiat currency is inflation. There are targeted inflation rates that they want to inflate per year. So absolutely, we're going to continue to go through inflation. Absolutely, the value of a dollar is going to continue to depreciate by 100% at least every 30 35 years. It's built into the system. Ideally, incomes would also continue to go up in a relative rate as the inflationary rate, right? That would be a perfect quote unquote scenario for, I guess, the Fed. But there are differences, right? Now, if we want to go back to like the UK's inflationary period where they lost their currency and they lost their kind of sovereignty with the world, that might be a fairly good comparison, because at the time they were kind of like a world superpower, right? But there's a lot of differences that I see. Dragoon, as BRICS Plus attempt alternatives to USD. Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about right now. TFD. How many years before we have dual international payment standards practice? That I think that's going to be coming through TFT. I think that will happen through the tokenization. I personally think that tokenization will be what creates multiple payment processing, instantaneous payment transfers, and conversion rates across the world, because it will make it faster, it'll make it cheaper, right? It'll do all the math and everything for everybody instantaneously. So I think that's why they want to go to tokenization and digital currencies and digital stable coins. I don't like it, but I do see that's where we're headed. At least I think they are. BRICS is now holding over 50%. They are winning now. They are making the unit gold backed. 100 countries dumped the dollar. Yeah, brilliant. Exactly. They're not completely dumped, but they are definitely deleveraging. Some nations by up to like 50%, right? I mean, right here, de-dollarization alert. Danish pension funds dump U.S. treasuries. They dumped like 50%, right? And this guy spells it out, right? Danish pension operator, let's just call it Academiker Pension, said it is selling all of its U.S. treasuries. Now, sometimes this is just simply because, like, it sometimes can also be because you just don't believe that the United States is going to grow faster than another nation that you could be invested in, right? These are pension funds, like, they're controlling people's retirements, right? Employees' retirements is essentially what they're doing, or whatever. They want to divest its entire 100 million in U.S. Treasury holdings by the end of the month. Like, I want to give you guys a news flash, but 100 million is nothing. Like, $100 million is nothing. The issue would be, if we are going to, if 500 nations all got rid of 100 million in U.S. Treasuries, that might be newsworthy. I'll be honest, 100 million in U.S. Treasuries is just literally nothing. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference to us. But this is also part of a full-on sentiment right now, especially through the BRICS nations, of deleveraging from the United States dependency of the currency and our debt through our treasuries and things like that. He cited concerns about the U.S. government's fiscal malfeasance. I mean, this guy might as well be a silver stacker right here with us. The decision is rooted in the poor U.S. government finances. The move also comes along the increasing tensions between the U.S. and the Danish governments. I don't think this really has that much to do with it. They're just probably following suit with what other nations are doing. That was not the primary motivator behind the decision. It is not directly related to the ongoing rift between the U.S. and Europe, but of course that didn't make it more difficult to take the decision. The driving concern is ever increasing U.S. debt and decades of overspending. I mean, literally poor fiscal policy. Spending more than we have, having trillions of dollars of interest that we have to pay every year. That's what we are. That's why we are getting out of the U.S. dollar. So why wouldn't we expect people that operate other nations to do the same thing? I know that there are times, guys. There's times where if I think the U.S. stock market is overextended, I might switch from my U.S. mutual funds and ETFs and stocks and shift into a more international fund or ETF. Because I want to play, emerging markets and stuff of like other nations that are growing rapidly. Like back when like India was having massive growth, right? Like there's opportunities there. Brazil has gone through stuff like that, right? There's been a lot of nations that have had, much more significant growth year over year than the U.S. And so, I mean, part of this is just fiscal responsibility of switching money where it goes. As of late, Jan 2026, Anthony Pompliano maintains that while gold and silver are rising, they are disastrous investments compared to Bitcoin, which he says has lost 83% of value to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's had a run up. I don't have any problem with Bitcoin if you want to invest in that. But again, Bitcoin and the transactions and stuff can kind of just be turned off when the internet and power goes out. That's kind of my concern with them. And then also if somebody ultimately does get control of all that, then it's all over. Schlade said the U.S.'s finances made us think that we need to make an effort to find an alternative way of conducting our liquidity and risk management. See, I mean, it's just like not that big of a deal, but a lot of nations are doing this. So Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent downplayed threats about divestment, calling Denmark's irrelevant. Denmark's investment in the U.S. Treasury bonds, like Denmark itself, is irrelevant. I mean, that's pretty harsh, but he noted that the divestment was less than 100 million. They've been selling treasuries. They have for years. I'm not concerned at all. Again, it's not just one nation. It's all the other nations doing the exact same thing that are the concern to me, and they all kind of like build up into a bundle. People are done with the war machine. We are shifting into a freedom-based society. I think some people are brilliant. I just don't think enough people are of that same like mind, and that's what we need kind of people to do and change. But all right, where are we at right here? Let's get some quick price updates. We are up to 1% growth in gold, which pushes us over that 5,000 mark. Hooray! Right? Silver, we're up over almost 105, 1.72. Platinum is making its comeback. It was down like 1.5%, and now it's almost flat. This is all kind of leading us, it looks like, guys, back, or it looks like we're just leading right back into another positive Western market open. Just following this trend where every single day we seem to go up a few percent. Again, I'm not going to complain about money going up and digits going up. I mean, look at this thing, just jumped up, just gaps up in the morning here. I'm not going to complain about digits going up, but I'm not going to stake my entire, livelihood and the idea that this is going to happen forever. I do expect at some point here we could experience a pullback. Just nobody knows yet where the top is, where the price discovery is going to completely get to and pull us back to. So until that happens, like, we're just on this ride, guys. I keep saying it. A comparison is like, we're on this roller coaster, and right now you can still hear the clank, 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 clank as it's bringing us all up to the top of this, roller coaster ride. the high point, but at some point there will be a descent. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know how far down it's going to go. But there will be a descent at some point. We can't just go up for perpetuity for our entire lives. Hopefully when it goes down, it doesn't go down far and it stabilizes quick. That would be the ideal world for us. And then once that stabilization happens, we can then kind of be like, okay, take a breath, get back in, go back to your normal stacking routine. But for now, just kind of go with it. I do think that, you know, if you're buying things that are low premium, under spot, that are silver or gold, I don't really care what they look like or where they're from. I do think that that's kind of a really good play right now. It's just keep stacking, you know, stack at the pace that's comfortable for you with money, you know, disposable income that you don't have to worry about. If the market goes down, you're not sweating bullets because you have to withdraw your, you know, silver and sell it and try to pay a bill. You shouldn't be investing with money that you need like within the next month. You should be investing in silver and gold with money that you don't need in theory for like 5+ years. This, for me, this is a long-term kind of play, and I'm just kind of protecting my wealth, getting out of cash, hedging inflation, getting out of the banking system that I don't trust. That's my play with it. So just be careful out there. It only takes 3% body politics to change the world. Well, if it depends on how active those 3% are, I guess. Like Iran's going through some stuff right now that it's probably going to be pretty revolutionary for that country. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, today was a short one, guys. We've got, you know, NFL games going on. It's Sunday. I don't want to belabor the points here. I'm sure we can go find some more to talk about. But right now, this is you know, Silver Dragoon. Just wanted to pop in here on a Sunday, check out the market open here, and report to you guys some of the stuff that I've seen going on in the news. Not really much different than last week. It looks like this week's gonna kind of start off just like last week, and just hanging out here, having a good time. I do appreciate each and every one of you hanging out here, watching this channel, enjoying it. I do try to do this at least 3 times a week, and I'm going to try to make sure I drop some videos as well, talking about different things that I'm looking at. But also got some new, I should have some new coinage coming in this week. Some stuff got delayed because of the weather, but looks like we're going to have a few coins coming in this week that I can kind of show some new pickups and stuff. So thank you all. Have a fantastic, wonderful Sunday evening. This was just, again, a little quick in and outer here for you. Appreciate everybody. Click the like button on your way out if you don't mind, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.